Yes, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It has come and gone, and a lot of takeaways, a lot of highlights, a lot of things to talk about. But first, congratulations to Carlos Sainz on a successful operation. But I think it's overdoing coming to the track yesterday. It's just getting well. Yeah, it's great to come and check on the team. But yeah, wow, he's a strong person, but I think he still needs a lot of rest. He did a surgery overnight and he's back in the paddock to come and cheer the team up. Great doctors, but I think it's just a risk for him, you know. Well, it's great seeing him and knowing he's getting better, and it's a plus for the team to see him there, to cheer them up and to be happy for him. So the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix started with Norris having a false start, and let me clear it, the false start was not seen as a false start by FIA, which I think is strange. They said the sensors did not capture it. Well, it's FIA, the sensor didn't capture it, so we can't say much, but I think it's somehow. But immediately, Max Verstappen taking pole, you know what he would do? He ousted his Charles Leclerc and started setting the great laps, and he was just jumping off on and on. But before the Grand Prix started, Pierre Gasly had a transmission issue. On lap 1, he had to retire the car. That was the first retirement of the season. The Alpine is just becoming more and more a rubbish car, and I think they need to do something about it. Some people have to be asking Anthony Joshua if he won't regret his investment in it, but I think they will get over it. McLaren got over theirs, they will get over it. It's just a period of time for them to look at what they are doing wrong and what they are doing right. The team will get over it. They will be strong, I believe, but they had to retire the car, and retiring the car means one man down. So Lance Stroll packing the team up from where he was, I think P9, was already backing the team off with a brilliant idea, with their brilliant straight line speed. Unfortunately for him, he clipped the wall, and that was the end of his race on lap 7. That brought out the virtual safety car, and a lot of teams went to pit. You know, it was of advantage for Red Bull because they can double stack and they know they have the speed from where they are, and also for teams like Ferrari, they can double stack because of the positioning they have on the grid. From 3rd to I think 6th or so, there was like a bit of great gap between them. But teams like Mercedes, McLaren were so close, so they could not double stack as and stake. They could not double stack, so they had to pit one driver for the other, because if they don't do that, they will lose track position. So that was what they had to do to maintain track position. And you know, the Jeddah track had always brought out red flag in the past, so they believed there would be red flags or another safety car, but that never came, and that really told on some people's race. People like Lando Norris, but he was able to get the best out of it. But for someone like Lewis Hamilton, he was unable to get the best out of it. But for someone like Nico Hulkenberg, he was a winner in it, but for Zhou Guanyu, he didn't win. And I'll tell you why. For Nico Hulkenberg, his teammate Kevin Magnussen, he was able to park a truck in front of like 6 cars behind him because of their straight line speed, and then being able to manage tires. Immediately Kevin Magnussen changed and was able to be in front of those cars. He parked them very well. For over 40 laps, they were behind him. It took 20 seconds penalty, or about 25 seconds penalty for the team for dangerous driving, and he was like the man of the match yesterday in football, as in doing a diligent job just to get 1 point for his team. That was a massive job for him to do. To get a point for his team, he did a great job. Nobody behind him was able to drive past him, and he kept all of them behind. That was great driving from Kevin Magnussen to get that 1 point in which they knew they would get, because he built that gap and his teammate was able to pit, come out, and still maintain to get the P10, which was massive for that team. It was massive, very, very important for that team, because any other team behind them, like the VCAP, could have gotten that point through Tsunoda, and Williams could have gotten that point. Alpine of Ocon could even have gotten the point. But this guy did a marvelous job, a tremendous job yesterday. Packed all of them back. Like, you guys are going nowhere. Packed the truck in front of them. It was great. It was a great drive from Kevin Magnussen, and it was a great point for Nico Hulkenberg, and it was a great teamwork for the AS team yesterday, getting that done for themselves. And to McLaren, they maintained track position through Lando Norris. He knew the Red Bulls would come steaming behind them and overtaking them, but he did his best to manage the medium tire himself and Lewis Hamilton for over 30 something laps before getting soft tires. And the disadvantage the Mercedes had yesterday was their high speed corner speed on the car. That car is so slow, very slow on the high speed corner. They have the straight line speed, they have the slow corner speed, but the high speed corner, which is the most specifically important part of that track, the first part of the track and the middle part of the track that contains the high speed corner, they were unable to keep close to other teams like McLaren, Aston Martin. That was where they were losing. The McLaren was taking about 7/10 away from them on that high speed corner, while Aston Martin was taking about 6/10 away from them. No matter how close they were, by the time they get to the high-speed corner, the advantage is gone. And I think they need to work on that, because that Achilles heel, the next track they are going to in Australia, that will be their greatest letdown if they don't work on it. But if they had been in front of the McLaren or the Aston Martin, they could have slowed those cars down on those high-speed corners and low-speed corners, because they don't have the speed. They'll be able to slow them down and still maintain the straight line speed they had. But it was a pity Mercedes could not do that yesterday, which was bad. But a beautiful defense for Lewis Hamilton yesterday. He was able to defend Piastri, frustrated the young man for about 25 laps. He was able to frustrate Piastri, took his tire away, made sure he was like a sitting duck in his car for about 25 laps yesterday. And that was a great drive from him. Big experience, huge experience, showing that his car does not have those high-speed corner advantage, but the straight line speed advantage he had, he used it very well. And great drive also from Lando Norris. His first stint with Hamilton, he was able to take a black and white flag for his troubles for the team to make sure he weighed off Lewis Hamilton, and from there, he was just all the way. And a lot of people are complaining about Mercedes. Let me just say this. This is their first year of coming with a car of this ground effect era. So, they have a lot to learn. If they had come with this car in 2022, they might be challenging for wins this year, because if that come with this car in 2022, they might be on the same par with Red Bull and Ferrari. The fight will be there. They might win some races, they might lose some races, because everybody is just learning. Now, Red Bull had learned a lot from their first car. You can see the second car was totally a whitewash for the old grid, and this new car is also looking like a whitewash, because they've learned the two cars. Now they can move into another direction, knowing what they need to know and how they need to move it, and that is perfect. That is beautiful. That is diligent from Red Bull. But for Mercedes, they're just getting it to it, and they have one more year of the ground effect car. So I don't see them winning, and I think that is one of the things Lewis Hamilton might have seen this year to encourage his move into Ferrari, because he knows if they don't get it right this year, yes, they've resigned James Allison for another 5 years. What is the guarantee that they will get it right again? Now, it is not turbo hybrid era just like they had in the last seasonal year. This is a ground effect year. So they are moving into another year in which you would know what they are moving into. They are changing their cars, their MGUH. In those years, the fuel is changing. We are hearing the Indian people have gotten the right Formula One fuel for them to burn. You know, it's getting better, so he doesn't want to waste his time sitting down and not winning or not challenging, because a lot of people are saying if he has a good car that is faster than Max Verstappen, Red Bull, that is when he can compete. No, if these guys have a good car, these guys will perform. The competition will be stiff. It will be so tight. We won't be seeing a whitewash like we are seeing. And these are different developers. We need to look at the teams, what they are doing. He's not the only one complaining. His teammate is complaining. Even other teams are complaining, because if Alpine got it right, they won't be where they are. We need to see that. If Williams have the same resources that Mercedes have, I believe they won't be where they are. If Aston Martin had gotten it right, they would not be where they are. Ferrari are trying on a one-lap pace, but their long run, they are still losing about 2-3 tenths. If they have that 2-3 tenths, they will be competing. If they can put Red Bull under pressure, we have a different dynamics here. So people need to look at that and see what these guys are doing, that these guys are doing a good job. So to Ferrari did a very good job yesterday. Charles Leclerc did a very decent job. He was able to maintain his position. He could not get close to the Red Bull, yes, but he was able to maintain his position. Where the Aston Martins, the Mercedes, and the McLaren, they were not close to him. And good job to Oliver Bierman, the driver of the day. What a drive for him, coming from 11th to finish 7th. That is massive. And we had 4 British drivers finishing in the points yesterday, from 6th to 9th. That's George Russell, Oliver Bierman, Lando Norris, and Lewis Hamilton finishing in the point. That is massive for British motorsport. With 3 different constructors, massive for British motorsport. That is like 5 Mercedes powered engine in the top 10, which is massive also for Mercedes powered engine, but not massive for Mercedes, because they are right behind those that they are supplying engine to. They are not close to them at all. Mercedes still have a lot of work to do to get them to where they need to get to a competitive state in this championship, and I think that is going to tell as we move forward in the championship. Great job for Ferrari. And to Alpine, after losing Pierre Gasly on the first lap, Esteban Ocon did a great job, but for Kevin Magnussen that parked the bus in front of him, he did a great job. It was a massive drive for Esteban Ocon. Good job, but the Alpine team are not showing that they've had big investments in the last year, which is poor for the team Alpine. As I said, it's a perfect job. To Williams, great job for Williams. They did a great job yesterday, but Kevin Magnussen, you know, the impediment, he parked it in front of them and right there, nobody could pass him, which is wonderful for Aston again. But for the Williams, great job, but they need to improve time. Like the Mercedes, they are like brothers and sisters. That's where they are losing time. They need to work on those high-speed corners is where they are losing time. To Ferrari, again, the majority owner of Ferrari was there yesterday, John Elkann. He was there to support the team and also to bring his face, the power there to show that they can still exploit, because Ferrari are really looking at exploiting Red Bull's problem, because that is the best way they can get the best out of it. And he was thankful to his team for a great job they did. They knew they are not there yet. That was one of the reasons why he came yesterday, to exploit, to see how he can use his power to get, if possible, Wasche and Andre Newey and some of their counterparts to woo them to Ferrari. And he gave kudos to Oliver Biermann for a good job, and he also talked about Lewis Hamilton that they signed. He's convinced that they made a good bargain and they know what they are doing, and he also commended their driver academy for doing a good job, presenting a wonderful guy in Oliver Biermann to do a good job yesterday, because he just jumped into the car in FP3 qualifying and race, and that was great for him. Good one from John Elkann, doing his job to flex his power in the team. And to Sergio Perez, on safe release, gave him a penalty, but 5-second penalty and a Red Bull car they are not the same. The Red Bull car can get 10 seconds out of the car, but he got a penalty for unsafe release yesterday. And what a wonderful drive for the team. Sergio Perez really did a good job for the team. We can't take anything from Max Verstappen, diligent driver with a good car, did a perfect job yesterday. The wind was right in front of the cars, but all the drivers did a good job, and Max Verstappen especially did a wonderful job yesterday to make sure he churned out time and he weighed off others and just won the Grand Prix easily. It was an easy win for him. Choice of wings also affected some teams. Mercedes fighting what they don't know gave them a wrong choice of wing also. From there, they were all back. Great race yesterday. Aside from the Red Bull team, we had 3 other races. We had the Magnussen and the rest, the Hamilton and Piastri, then the rest in front of them. Those were the races yesterday. Beautiful race, wonderful race. I think we should have more competition at this time. We should have close races, great performances from this team to give us perfection in races. But perfect race, great lead, great car from the Red Bull team. Others still have a lot to catch up. If they are bringing upgrades from Japan and they are bringing another one in Imola, that is going to set a big pace. Except others like Mercedes, they said they are bringing upgrades in Austria. That's in 2 weeks time, and Ferrari are bringing upgrades. If they can close up the gap and still look for time to close up the new gap they are going to bring, I think they will have a long season of Red Bull. Thanks to Saudi Arabia, great competition, great hosting. I love you guys.